Cast on international dating and marriage. Glad you're here. This is the time that we put aside every week to answer your questions, to give you some good information that fits somewhere into your plans of ultimately getting on a plane and going to meet your girl, your future life mate, the girl you're going to give your love to, that one spectacular woman that you can spend the rest of your one life on this earth with. You know, to help you find your happiness, complete who you are, and complete your love story and your life story. We dedicate a lot of time to giving you really good quality information and material backed up by some pretty sexy video, right? That's a nice video of ladies who have come to us, who have registered on our site, want to meet somebody, and they're out there just hoping that somebody like you will discover them, waiting to be discovered by you. So you need information and they need you. So we're going to give you this good information tonight, and hopefully that'll get you closer and closer to one of these very beautiful women that you'll look at tonight. We're looking at a lot of video from Ukraine because Ukraine is one of our very popular destinations on our schedule of singles tours, and we have some really outstanding ones coming up. We've got singles tours to Shenzhen, China, right around the corner, as a matter of fact. In about 10 days, I believe, I'm kicking off a pretty spectacular tour in Shenzhen, China. Big, beautiful, modern city. Man, the women of China, what an interesting story. What an interesting experience. Why the women of China are here. What cultural pressures and factors drive them to look for a man from outside of their culture. They're so beautiful. They're so intelligent. They're very successful. Amazing women. And then Medellin, Colombia, one of our very popular destinations in Latin America. We always have a great tour in Medellin, an amazing staff with some very, very beautiful, incredibly overlooked women in Medellin, Colombia. And of course, next month, we've got two four-city tours, one in Odessa and Nikolaev down on the Black Sea on the coast. Gorgeous. Gorgeous place to go, guys, believe me. Odessa and Nikolaev, a big city on the Black Sea, a small city on the Black Sea, just beautiful. And then, of course, we have Kiev and Poltava, the largest city in Ukraine with millions and millions of people and a lot of very beautiful women who are going to come to our social events. And Poltava, which is a small city to the southeast of Kiev. You know, there are not a lot of people going there, but a lot of very beautiful and incredibly, horribly bored women who are really hoping some nice guy will walk into their life in the near future and ask them out for coffee. So we've got a lot of stuff on deck for you guys. Costa Rica coming up in April as well. So many great locations, great staff waiting for you, a lot of very beautiful women, so much opportunity for you. So we're going to talk specifically about how tonight to meet these women and some of the processes that are involved in that. In fact, specifically, we're going to talk a little bit about your correspondence and what are some of the challenges with your correspondence, how to be effective with your correspondence. I touched upon this a little bit, how to write letters effectively. Specifically, I did an earlier webcast on that topic. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the challenges that come with corresponding to women from another country, corresponding to women overseas, and how do we meet those challenges, how do we become aware of those challenges, and how do we work around those challenges so we can make a good impression and get to meet the women that we're writing to. So we'll talk about that. But in addition to that, in fact, really, more importantly than that, we're going to answer your questions, and here's how you can ask them. Some of you guys know the drill because you've been watching for a while. If you're watching for the first time tonight, again, my name is Bud, and here's how you ask me your questions. There's a green box above me that tells you how you can click that box and send me your question. Click the box. Send me your question. I'll see it on my admin panel. I'll be happy to read your question aloud, as long as it makes sense to do so. And I'll answer it for you to the best of my ability, and we'll hopefully give you some good information. So between the little slides that we have tonight, which are going to talk about the challenges around correspondence and just flat out, honest, candid information around your specific questions, hopefully this will be a good webcast and a good experience for you. I love watching these videos because we watch these videos, and these are men and women who are meeting in our social experience, our social processes, right? We love to throw our social parties. You know, there's so many women who come to them. We usually have 8 or 9, sometimes 10, times the women in the room that we have number of men. Those are pretty staggering numbers, right? But we really do enjoy bringing a lot of women out to see who we are and why we're here and why we have this group of guys that would fly halfway around the world and spend a pretty significant amount of money to get out in front of them, to get to meet them, to court them and date them. A lot of these women, like you guys, they look in the mirror, they see someone that they like, they see a pretty woman who has a lot to offer a guy, but they have no guy. And you look in the mirror and you see a really nice guy who's got no girl, but you have a lot to offer. So it's a great deal of fun for us as the orchestrators of those social events to just put people in front of each other and watch the magic happen. So you're watching these videos. These are men and women who are meeting in our social events, and just look how comfortable they are with each other. Look how happy and excited they are, how much fun they're having. It's cool. It's unique, that's for sure. You won't find something like this anywhere. Honestly, what we do is highly unique and very specialized and a tremendous amount of fun if you get to participate. So we have some things on deck for you guys. I mentioned the upcoming singles events and singles tours that we have all over the world in the next 30 days, right? Tons of them. We also have some interesting international dating seminars for you. These are free seminars. They are seminar-ish. You're going to learn a lot. There's some good information. We're not just going to talk at you randomly, and we're not just going to sell you stuff. We have the seminars so that we can get out in front of you guys and answer your questions. Frankly, we just want you to see us because we're really compelling people. In this business, quite frankly, the whole entire international dating business, I don't mind saying, I don't know anybody who's more compelling than I am, to be honest with you. And we love to get out in front of you, let you ask your questions, feel our genuine passion for helping people meet each other. See it, feel it, witness it, experience it. Come into the room and leave the room knowing that we really do love to watch good people find each other. We find that to be an incredibly life-defining event, an incredibly rewarding job. We'll also tell you a lot about why women come to us, why it differs, their motives for coming to us from different countries. Why are the women in the Philippines looking for men outside of the Philippines? How does that similar or different to the women in China, or similar or different to the women in Ukraine or Latin America? We'll talk about you, why you would come to a seminar. What is it exactly that you're after, and why can't you find it in American culture? And is the problem with the culture or the problem with you? I think you're going to find out it's not you, my friends, but that's one of the messages you'll definitely leave our seminar with. It's not you, because it's really not, although it kind of is. We'll talk about that. But anyway, we just want to give you tons and tons of great information so that you can come away from a seminar. Man, you would have to read reviews and information on the internet for a whole freaking year to get the kind of information you're going to get at one of our free international dating seminars. So come on out. We have a whole list of them, but right away we're going to be in Houston, Texas, and Dallas, Texas, March 24th and March 25th, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 3. Right? So Houston on Saturday, Dallas on Sunday, the 24th and 25th of March. You can RSVP Bud at Loveme.com. Well, I'm going to be in Jacksonville on April 7th. Very much looking forward to that. Another Florida seminar, man. All my Florida seminars are completely spectacular, so I can't wait to get back to Florida. And then we'll do Minneapolis on the 14th of April and Denver on the 15th. And it looks like we'll be doing Las Vegas, what did that say, May 12th? May 13th, I'm sorry. How about that, guys? So Houston, Dallas, Jacksonville, Minneapolis, Denver, and Las Vegas in the next 8 weeks. That's a schedule of seminars, guys, right? We're totally committed, and we're going to have more of them up for you sometime soon. So if you can get to Houston or Dallas, guys, on the 24th or 25th of March, RSVP Bud at Loveme.com. Get out there. Nobody's going to hurt you. We're not going to sell you anything you don't want. We're going to give you lots and lots of great information and really get those barriers, those silly, stupid things in your head, the BS story that you tell yourself around why you can't do this and be successful and be happy, finding the love that you were meant to have, the love that you want. We're going to get all that stuff out of the way so there's nothing stopping you from going forward and finding your girl, right? Come out to our seminars, RSVP, Bud at Loveme.com. My man Kirk is behind the scenes. He's amazing. He's responsible for every single thing that you see in front of you on these webcasts. He's brilliant and beautiful, and wouldn't trade him for anybody. So, all right, guys, get ready. Ask your questions. Click that green box and let me know what's going on. Right now, I want to have just a little heart-to-heart with those of you who are watching me, all right? I don't know you. I don't know most of you. I certainly know some of you. I feel incredibly privileged to be able to do this. I look forward to this all week and all weekend. I really do. Because I have guys who write to me and say, Bud, I'm watching on Monday night and you keep me going, man. I mean, I was depressed after my divorce. I was sad and broken because of this event in my life. I just had given up on dating. Man, I appreciate your energy, your enthusiasm, your generosity, with the information, and how sincere you are. I mean, I get those messages from random guys that are out there, and I just feel really connected to our overall community of guys. And I know this information is important to you. In a minute, we're going to talk about how you guys can write letters that have an impact and some of the challenges that are going to come up during that process and how to get around them. But I got to tell you guys, quite honestly, I'm a little stung from the last week. I don't mind saying. The last webcast that I did, I brought to your attention 5 women from a group of about 40,000 women that are registered at our website, right? 5 women. I showed you their profiles. We talked a little bit about them. I told you that while I didn't know any of them personally, I knew how they came to us. I knew their situation, which was that they have no attention from anybody. They're lonely and sad, getting no correspondence, literally. And they really want a guy. And one of them was 21. The others were in their 30s. I think one was 40. They were all quite lovely. And I know that I've got thousands of you guys watching my webcast lonely and wanting to write to somebody and wanting to not get scammed and wanting to have a real authentic correspondence or experience with somebody on the other end. You want to make a connection. And gee whiz, guys, nobody wrote to any of those women. Nobody. I had 5 women. I held them up to the light, your light in front of you. We talked about them. I gave you the inside information. Here are 5 beautiful women that are lonely and alone, and nobody's writing to them, and nobody's still writing to them. And when I found that out, I can't say I was completely shocked. I was disappointed. Forgive me, I was a little bit hurt. But I can't say I was completely shocked because that's happened before. I mean, I've literally taken somebody from the website and put her out in front of you expecting that would help her to generate some interest in her profile and her search for somebody, and it didn't do a thing, which absolutely stunned me. And so, of course, I spent a little bit of time wondering why would thousands of guys, thousands of you turkeys, watching my webcasts, nobody wanted to meet any of those women? And the honest answer to that question is, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I do know this. I know that women at our website who are scantily clad at the top of our homepage, our banner or whatever, getting lots of letters, right? The 20-somethings with big Photoshop boobs, everybody loves to write to them. And I do know that men love fantasy, and that is one of the biggest, ginormous challenges in doing the business that we do, because we find it so interesting that thousands of guys lurk around our site, thousands of guys develop their hot list of really hot, scantily clad women, thousands of guys will write to women who are the scantily clad Photoshop model quality women. And you know, guys, if that's what gets you going, if that floats your boat, if that makes you happy, that's great. You know, you're writing to women that are popular, that a lot of men are writing to, but you're writing to them too, and if that's what you want to do, who am I to stop you from doing it? But what I'm telling you is that there is a whole entire universe of women very much in front of you in this realm who are getting no attention at all, and they're incredibly high quality women, and that's what I'm here for. That's my secret. I'm really here for them. I'm here to help them meet somebody, because you cannot meet women like this and not feel that there's just something wrong with this universal picture of such beautiful and amazing women who are clearly sincere in their intentions of finding somebody and giving their love to somebody, and they've got no opportunity at all to do that. None. No opportunity. Nada. You can't go through that experience, meet them, and not want to help them. And when I go out to seminars and I meet some of you guys, and you guys are awesome, or when you write to me, I realize there are a lot of awesome guys that are out there in my audience, and I can't help wanting to help you too. I just don't understand how guys get sucked into the fantasy and completely ignore the reality. But I'm going to leave you to decide what's the right thing for you to do. But what I want to do is this. I want to switch over to talk about something that is going to give you a little bit more of an inside look at correspondence processes, whether it's, you know, our site, some site, any site that's out there. If you're writing to women, what are some of the things that are going on behind the scenes? I'm going to get a few of your questions in, and then we're going to jump into that. All right, guys, let's go. Questions, let's have them. Wayne from Oklahoma City. How you doing, Wayne? Interested in going on one of the July Ukraine tours. Wayne, if you go, I'll probably be your tour leader in July, and that'd be a lot of fun. I'm not sure about my work schedule yet. What is the latest I can sign up for one of the July Ukraine tours? Any differences between the women in Kiev versus the women in Odessa? None. No difference whatsoever. The difference in the women from Kiev and the women from Odessa, Wayne, is the difference between women from Dallas and Houston. There's none. Which tour is more popular? In July, they're both going to be pretty popular. We'll have about 50 guys on each of those tours, and would love to include you, and I believe I'll be the tour leader for both of those tours. So if you guys want to go to Ukraine in July, go with me, have a blast. Man, are we going to eat some food on that tour. But forget about the food. I'll introduce you to so many incredibly nice women, and you have an excellent chance of finding your love, so we can definitely do that. The latest you can sign up for a July tour, honestly, 30 days out, we're going to give a final list of names to the hotels. Summertime in Odessa, summertime in Kiev, the hotels fill up. And if you wait longer than mid-June, if you wait longer than 30 days from the beginning of that tour, you risk losing your hotel room. So I would do it no later than 30 days prior to the start of that tour, which I believe is in the second week of July, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's July 12th, something like that. So 30 days out would be about it. I see that you're in Oklahoma City, Wayne, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and convince the gods of a foreign affair. I'm not very successful in these things, but I'm going to try and convince the gods of a foreign affair to do a seminar in Oklahoma City, because we haven't been to OKC in a long time, and I think we need to go there. Matt says, when a woman writes me, has she actively looked at my profile, or the agency simply writing letters thanks in advance? Agency is not writing letters. The woman has probably seen your profile. Some agencies in our network have access to your profile. All of our offices have access to your profile. There are a handful of agencies that are out there, Matt, that don't have access to your profile right away. But if you write to someone and she says, I want to see this guy's pictures, I want to know more about him, there's a way that they can get that information. I know that's kind of a long, complicated answer, but the long and short of it is that any woman who writes to you, if she wants to see what you look like, if you've got pictures or see any information that you posted on your profile, we can provide that to her in one way or another. All right, a few more questions, then I'm going to jump into my topic of how to overcome some of the challenges around corresponding with women from other countries. Raul says, this is the same film from last week. Why? Raul, no, it's not. We have some of the film from last week, which is the same, but a lot of it is not. So yeah. You know, we rotate the film, Raul, pretty much. So I've been communicating with someone on the site, and she's willing to view and sign the applicable IMBRA form. Can you get her email to use for Skype? Okay, Steve, if she's willing to sign the IMBRA form, then you can simply write to me, and I'll forward your email to our express mail department, and they'll follow up on that for you if she's willing to sign the IMBRA form that she needs to sign in order to exchange personal contact with you. Most of the time, the women won't do that, but if she's willing to, we'll certainly help you to coordinate that. Just write to me, Bud at Loveme.com, right? So, yeah. All right, guys, questions? Let's have them. John says, some unbelievably stunning women on your banner have written to me. Is it really that woman written to me, says John. Well, John, so here's the thing. We have women on our banner, women all over our website. If you watch our website, you'll notice that the pictures at the top of the page alternate, right? So we change a lot of the pictures at the top of the page, but what gets a picture at the top of our home site is you clicking it, and other guys like you clicking it. So if these women are very popular, they're going to be at the top of the website. If they're writing you, they're writing it because they haven't met anybody yet. A lot of women have to write to a lot of men to get somebody to get on the plane to come and meet them. You know, it's interesting, we have a lot of women in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, right? And they're very popular. We have lots and lots of guys writing the women in Mexico. We have very few that have ever tried to meet them. That is the truth. And the women on the banner, I have met women at the top of our page at Loveme.com in Ukraine who got tons and tons of correspondence, but they didn't get any guy. So they're writing, but they want a guy to come and meet them. So they obviously have to keep writing to a number of men before they find somebody who's willing to get on the plane to come and meet them. And it's like that. So look, guys, we're going to talk about correspondence, and I'm going to tell you very honestly that the whole entire problem with this industry worldwide is that men want to write letters and go nowhere. And I'm going to challenge you, and I will offend you, and I don't mean to offend you. I don't. But you will very easily get sucked into thousands of dollars worth of pen pal correspondence and never go anywhere. And a year later, you will have spent a lot of money that you could have easily spent going to meet somebody, getting your girl, falling in love, and having a real experience. This culture tricks you into believing that you do not deserve and cannot have and should not get a beautiful girl who really and truly loves you. And you, because you're tired of dealing with how hard it is to do that, settle for something much less than an authentic love experience. Tens of thousands of guys do. And they fuel the engine of this industry worldwide. So much to the point where this industry worldwide doesn't do what I do. Who else do you know that comes out here to give you guys these blogs and this great information to get you off your butt, out of your chair, away from that damn keyboard, on a plane, to go and actually meet somebody? Who does that? And we do it because correspondence is just correspondence. It's just a pen-pal relationship until you meet in person, no matter what you're writing. It's just letters. And you deserve more than letters, right? I mean, a kiss is a kiss. Reminds me of a song. A kiss is still a kiss. Anyway, so, but a kiss is just a kiss, guys, right? A letter is just a letter. You got to get on a plane to go and meet somebody, to have an authentic love relationship actually happen in your life. And I think many of you really do want to do that in your heart. That's what you really want. You just think you can't do it or shouldn't do it, or it just gets too easy to settle for the virtual thing. And that is what I do, boys. That is my whole entire role in this crazy industry worldwide. This is what I do. I talk to y'all to get you off your butt into a plane to go and meet a girl. It's not as big and scary as you would think, and just do everything I possibly can to help you Get on the plane and go meet somebody. Give your love to somebody. Hold somebody in your arms. Have a real woman kiss you. A nice kiss, a kiss you enjoy. Be able to kiss her back. Be able to sit at night holding hands, drinking coffee together, just talking and just living that wonderful experience of a partner in your life who loves you, who's there for the right reasons, who gives you all the love that you are giving so you can have that love in return. It's nothing better than the real deal, guys. Gee, Joe is really trying to ask his question. Tell us more about the fiancé visa. How long does it take? All right, here's what I'll do. I will comment on the fiancé visa process, and then I'll move into our material, and then I'll take some more of your questions, okay? My goodness, Joe, I get it. Wow, Joe, did you really have to do that 10 times? All right, Joe. So the fiancé visa process goes like this. Wherever the girl is from, whatever country she's from, you go, you meet, you fall in love. That's definitely part of the deal. When the two of you as a couple in love decide you've got to be together, you've got to, you love each other, you want to live together, your options are to move to her country and live there, or to bring her to your country, which is probably what's going to happen. Most couples decide they are eventually going to live in the home country of the guy, and that's usually the States. So let's talk about the fiancé visa process for the U.S. because frankly, that's the only one I know. You and your girl are going to get some documents together and some forms. You're going to come back to the States. You're going to send in your fiancé visa forms and some supporting documents like pictures of the two of you together, maybe a couple of emails that you've exchanged, copies of ticket stubs for flights that you've taken to go and meet her. Things that establish that the two of you actually met and fell in love. You're going to write to the State Department and say, hey, guys, it's me over here, your favorite son. I've been a good guy. I've paid my taxes. I'm a good citizen. And I met this girl. And we fell in love. Here's proof of that. And we met each other. Here's proof of that. We want to get married. Isn't that exciting? Aren't you happy for us? So I'd like her to have a visa so that she can come to America so the two of us can get married. And if you give her that visa, we will get married. And the government will look over all of your documents. If everything's in order, they will say, yeah, okay, no problem. See you in about 6 months. And it'll be quiet for a little while, but then she, through the embassy in her country, so Manila if it's the Philippines, for example, Beijing if it's China, Bogota if it's Colombia, right? Or Kiev if it's Ukraine, she will get notice, usually about 45 days out, that she has an interview at the U.S. Embassy in her country. She'll go to that interview. She's got to take care of a few things along the way, but she'll go to that interview and she will get her visa most of the time if you've done your documentation. So then once she has the fiancé visa, you've worked hard, you've gotten the fiancé visa for her, she has 6 months to enter the U.S. So she can make plans, prepare her family, do whatever she needs to do to be ready for that. Maybe she has a child, and that child needs to finish school, for example. And anytime within that 6-month period, she can enter the U.S. When she does enter the U.S., she has 90 days to be here, during which time the two of you at some point will get married, usually toward the end of that 90 days. Give her time to come here and be here and be comfortable and stuff like that. So that, in a nutshell, is the fiancé visa process. When you do one of our singles excursions, guys, we give you all of the forms that you need to apply for a fiancé visa and a little guidebook telling you how to do that, most of which I wrote. Okay, all right, great question, Joe. Thanks for asking it. Okay, guys, I don't know why I'm getting like 8 questions from each of you, but I'm hoping that's just an anomaly, right? Okay, so guys, I'm going to jump into our material tonight, and then I'll come back to some more of your questions, okay? We're watching video footage from the Ukraine. I'm throwing Ukraine up there because I want you guys to see where we're going to be next month, right? And we have a great opportunity for you. We are doing two city tours in Ukraine next month, and all of the cities are spectacular. If you want to see what that looks like, because I know a whole bunch of you are thinking about going to Ukraine next month. I know that because we've been talking about it, and I know that a lot of guys come on at the last minute. So I know a lot of you are thinking you want to go to Ukraine. This is what it will look like. Beautiful women in a comfortable, respectful environment, meeting men. Do they look nervous? The guys are okay. They're not nervous. Why aren't the guys nervous? Wouldn't you be nervous if you were surrounded by so many beautiful women? The guys aren't nervous because the women aren't nervous, and the women are incredibly easy to talk to. So 5 minutes of sitting down and talking to these women, you realize that they are incredibly down to earth and very easy to talk to, and that makes you chill, and that helps you to just relax and be yourself. You feel very accepted for who you are, and you feel comfortable. You feel wanted and desired. You feel attractive, and those are really great feelings, and it's easy to start from there. We'll talk about some of the challenges that we have around correspondence, guys, because, you know, we're writing letters, right? A lot of you guys want to write letters and do correspondence with women from other countries, and that's how a lot of you begin the whole process of looking for an international life mate, a foreign bride, if you will. You're going to write some letters and see what happens. Or maybe you'll set your profile up on a few sites and the women will write to you, and maybe you'll respond to some of that and see what happens there. But either way, a lot of you are looking at the possibility of writing to some of these women to see what happens. I get it. I really do. You'll say, Bud, look, you're talking about Shenzhen, China. Shenzhen, China, we have a singles excursion coming up in Shenzhen, China. Some great parties, a lot of fun. Beautiful, beautiful women in China. We have that coming up in about 10 days. There's still room on it if you want to go. There's not much. You want me to go to Shenzhen, China, Bud? I've never heard of Shenzhen, China. What is Shenzhen, China? Where in China is it? Where in the world is China? How do I get there? What happens to me when I get there? I know that a lot of you have those thought processes, especially if you've never traveled outside of the U.S. before. Like 50% of you guys watching have never done, and that's okay. It's never too late. But you're trying to wrap your mind around getting on a plane and going to meet beautiful women from a culture that's very different from yours. Man, that's a tough thing to do, cold turkey. I mean, it's a tough thing to do, sight unseen. You want some traction. You want to know no matter what, I can get on a plane and I can go and meet the women I'm writing to. And that's a very natural thought process. What happens is guys follow that thought process. They write to women, they get on a plane, they go with us, they meet these women, they meet a lot of women they didn't write to. They're very attracted to the women they didn't write to, and then they don't know what to do. But we'll talk about that. Some of the challenges around correspondence. As long as you're going to correspond, I want you to just be aware of the big correspondence picture. So let's talk about overcoming some of the challenges in correspondence. And of course, our biggest challenge, I've said it before, and I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, guys, because I'm not. But believe me, this is true. This is our biggest challenge, and this is the biggest advantage that companies, businesses, websites, if you will, in the whole international dating realm have. This enormous advantage, which is, actually, I guess two advantages, but one of them is that men love fantasy. Love it, love it, love it. Love fantasy. And if someone's selling you fantasy, man, you're buying it. Why are you buying it? Because it's fun. It's great. You know, it's a stroke. It feeds the dopamine in our brain that tells us that we're happy when we come home at the end of the day and she's there, you know, writing to us, scantily clad, always available, writing whatever I want to talk about. It's great. We're buying that. We're buying that. We're buying that to the tune of tens of millions of dollars all over the world, guys. Men love fantasy, and it's easy to feed them fantasy. Unfortunately, along with that, men also like virtual reality, meaning we like correspondence, and we like email, and we like chatting, and we like Facebook and social media, and that's great. You know, so do I. But the thing is, the problem is that we've let that completely replace authentic relationships in our lives. We will post on Facebook instead of picking up the phone to call our friends and tell them what's going on. You know, we'll send an email and we'll chat 100 times before we'll pick up the phone and talk once to someone who's very, very close to us. And because electronic communication and virtual communication is so easy, and to a certain extent, virtual love is also easy. It doesn't require anything of us. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to dress up. We don't have to shower. We can just go on the computer and there it is. And we love that. We love the convenience of virtual love. The problem is it's virtual. It's counterfeit. And, you know, years of your life will go away. And I guarantee you guys, if you're new or not to my message, to my work, to what I do, to my body of work, if this is new to you, but even if it's not, I absolutely promise you there is a day in your future you're going to wake up and you're just going to be sick of it all. You're going to wake up after thousands of dollars and years of your life gone in correspondence and chat and this kind of stuff, and you're going to be just sick of it all. You're going to want an authentic human being in your arms before you freaking die. So you've got to do something about it. So anyway, you're writing letters, and that certainly is a step, right? Some of you will say, hey, Bud, I'm writing, I'm communicating, I'm seeing where that goes, and I get it, and that's great, because correspondence is a tool, definitely a tool to help you get out in front of somebody. Before you write, I've said this many times, and I'm about to say it again. Before you write, guys, this is what you should do, which is what 98% of the men who are writing letters are not doing. So yes, I am suggesting that you do something that is completely unique, that the vast majority of men, and there are tens of thousands of you, who are writing letters and correspondence to women, you know, through websites around the world. I'm going to give you a suggestion and advice to do some things that no one else is doing. Everybody's doing the same thing. You're all coming to websites and writing letters and seeing where it goes. Don't do that. Do this instead. Go out and take a walk by yourself and ask yourself some questions. Just go by yourself without anybody else, no other voices, no other influence in the room, just you talking to yourself, and ask yourself, are you ready to fall in love? Do you want to fall in love? At the end of the day, is that the end game you have in mind? Because it makes no sense to spend money on a virtual relationship. I mean, there are all kinds of substitutes for relationships if you really want them. It makes no sense to spend money on correspondence and never go anywhere. But ask yourself, are you really ready to fall in love with somebody? Are you mentally and emotionally up to that? Most of you will say, I am. Of course I am. I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of this crazy crapshoot of American culture dating. And guys, I get it. All right, so you're ready to fall in love. Are you ready to get married? Whoa, bud, slow down. Falling in love is one thing. Getting married is another. Why so? Why getting married? Why do I have to get married? You don't have to get married, but the reality is that most women who join websites to meet men from other countries are looking for marriage. They're looking for a family. It's what avoids them, or what evades them, I should say, in their culture. They can't get married. Look at those twins at the social in Odessa. Isn't that great? I know at least one of them can sing really, really well. Anyway, are you ready to fall in love? Are you ready to get married? Because women want to get married. Women don't want to screw around. Women don't want casual relationships. Women want a life partner and a family and somebody to build their life around. And that's why they come to international dating. Are you ready for that? And you might say, I am, but if I could fall in love, I mean really authentically fall in love with somebody, I would like to get married, because I don't want this vast ocean in between me and her where we don't see each other and can't be together once we've discovered each other. That would suck. I want to meet this girl. I want to fall in love. I want to have her in my arms. Great. You know, so if you feel good about that and it's green light go, then go do the opposite of what everybody else does. Instead of writing letters, you know, to random people, take a look at that map. Take a look at that world map and decide where you would like your future life partner to be. I bet you already have an idea, because most guys do. Most guys aren't writing. What I find, in fact, it's very rare that men are writing to women from more than one place. When I find men are writing to women, they're writing to women from one country, because that's a culture of interest to them. They've identified that, and that's where their efforts go. Makes sense. So what is that country for you? Is it the Philippines? Do you like Filipino women? Do you like Philippine culture? You know, maybe it's the Ukraine, right? You're watching this video thinking, wow, beautiful, stunning women. They are. If they're anywhere near as down to earth as Bud says they are, I totally want to get in that picture and meet these women. Absolutely. So figure out where you want to go. Maybe it's Latin America. God knows. The women of Latin America are incredibly beautiful. They really are. Very family-oriented women. You know, Colombia's got about a 2% divorce rate, guys. The country of Colombia, about a 2% divorce rate. Isn't that amazing compared to our American culture? So, do exactly the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Figure out where you would like her to be from. If you were to get on a plane and go somewhere, where would that be? Figure that out. Pinpoint it. Start writing to women there. If you've already decided, I have such an interest in this country and this culture, I would love to see this city someday. I'd love to go to St. Petersburg, Russia. I'd love to go to Kiev, Ukraine. I'd love to go someday to Cebu in the Philippines. If you've got that already, start writing to the women that are in that place. Because as you develop those correspondence relationships, guys, and when it comes time to meet somebody, all you've got to do is get on the plane and go one place, and you can meet several women that you've been writing to. If you do what everyone else is doing, you'll write to women all over the doggone place, and then you'll have to either choose who you're going to meet and who you're not going to meet, or someday you'll have to choose how to meet 4 or 5 women all over the place in a country the size of Texas. So how do I meet somebody in Houston, then meet somebody in Dallas, then meet somebody in Austin, then meet somebody in Amarillo? How do you do that? I don't know. It's not easy. I mean, it's one thing to do it in Texas. It's another thing to do it in China or the Philippines or the Ukraine. So guys, you can develop that thought process. Take it so far as to decide where you're going to go and start writing to women who are there. Nobody's doing that. You should do it. So what are some of the challenges around correspondence? If you're going to write dedicatedly to women around the world, or women in a place, there are some things we're going to completely overlook that I want you to be aware of. One of them is women who join a website, an international dating website, you know, a mail-order bride website, a foreign dating website. Most of the time, those women are not coming directly to that website from the internet. I think this is news for a lot of guys. Many women come from an established office. You know, so example, if you have a a company that specializes in women from Ukraine. You might have an office in the city of Odessa, Ukraine, and many women who come to your website will come through the people who work in that office in Odessa, Ukraine, and their efforts on the ground in Odessa, Ukraine. So you may also have local independent agencies that are out there that are great on a local level, but nobody knows they exist on a worldwide level, and you'd never find them unless you search 1,000 pages on the internet, because they're buried and they don't have a marketing budget that can bring them to the front of the internet when you look for people. I don't know if you knew that or not, but that usually costs people a lot of money. Costs us a lot of money. The fact that you found us alone, the fact that you're here tonight, cost us a ton of money. I could buy a nice house somewhere for the amount of money we paid just to make that possible for you to even find this webcast, I promise you. So women don't always come to us from directly to the website, I should say. In fact, most women are going to come to us through the efforts of somebody else, whether it's an office on the ground or a local independent agency called an affiliate. And most of the websites or businesses that you've ever heard of are working through a network of offices and affiliates, sometimes a very large number of them. So whenever women come to a website and there are these independent agencies that are involved, they obviously have to get paid for what they do, and they get paid by coordinating and translating, delivering, and making them just in a timely fashion, just making sure all of those processes happen for you. They get paid for those things. So in other words, a woman comes to our website by way of an agency. ABC Agency calls us up and says, I have all these really great women. Nobody knows that we exist out here in the middle of nowhere. And I'm going to have to close my doors and go out of business if I can't find husbands for these women. You have husbands. We have women. How about if we bring our women to your format? Your men can meet our women. And we'll say, okay, it sounds like a good deal. It's kind of like, again, the real estate broker with a lot of houses to sell and no buyers. And you go and you meet a network of buyers and you partner together so the buyers and the sellers can find one another. And the real estate broker was in the middle of all of that. And to a certain extent, that's the relationship we have with many, many independent agencies that work with us around the world in places like Ukraine, China, and the Philippines. So translators work for these agencies and these offices, and when you write letters, your letters aren't going directly to the women. They are going by way of someone who's going to translate that letter and deliver it to the woman. Get her attention. Make sure she sees your letter. Make sure she reads and understands it, and makes sure that she responds to your letter in a timely fashion, so that if she gets on Monday and she's working 4 or 5 days, long hours, she won't wait until the following weekend to write you back while you wait all week wondering if she even got your letter. You know, people are paid to coordinate that communication in a timely fashion. So they'll call the girl up on her lunch break, or they'll have her stop by the office, or they'll talk to her in a time when she's free so they can get your letter to her and get a response from her back to you. The challenge is that translators are only human, guys. Translators have to translate what you're trying to say. They have to translate it accurately. They have to get it to her. They have to translate what she's trying to say and get it back to you in a manner that you can understand. And all of that has to be done in a timely fashion. And that's a big task. It takes a lot of people who are proficient in English, proficient in relationships, and proficient in process management. And there are some things that trip translators up. And virtually just about every time, I should say, you write to a woman through our site, the vast majority of the time, a translator somewhere is going to pick up that letter, translate it, deliver it, get a response, translate it, and get it back. We take a lot for granted in all of that. We take for granted how many hours translators work, how easy it is for them to understand what we're trying to say. Our language, we speak our language, we don't even think about the words that we write, but if you want just an experiment sometime, go to Google Translate, or any translation site which is similar. At Google Translate or similar websites, you can type a few sentences and then translate into another language. And then take that translated piece, open up another Google page, translate page, and just translate it back into English, right? So go write something, anything, 3 or 4 sentences, and then translate that, for example, into Russian. Then open another page, translate it from Russian back to English, and see how accurately it translates. And it's really interesting how often that gets messed up, and how you have to try really, really hard to get completely accurate translations. And if we're writing long, long, long letters, you can imagine the amount of effort that translators have to put into translating our letters accurately. They have to be able to reach women. Women will work long hours in other countries. They have pressures. They work long hours. They've got to go home. They've got to feed kids, take care of homework, give attention to their children, take care of home tasks. They've got things to do. So you've got to find time, if you're a translator or interpreter, when a woman will sit down and talk to you. And guys, you know, in a lot of cases, since most of you want to write only the most beautiful young women with big Photoshop boobs, in a lot of cases, you've got several letters to deliver to this woman if you're a translator and you need time to do all of that. So, I mean, those are some of the challenges. The translators that are there, that are trying very hard to coordinate everything, the office staffs that are trying to keep your communication smooth and fluent and consistent. There are challenges around making all of that happen, and there are things that we can do to help them with that. Your challenge, of course, is that you want to stand out. You want to leave a good impression. You want to not be boring. You want to make sure that your girl will write you back and find something of interest in you, so your correspondence will continue, so that your correspondence relationship can deepen and develop to the point where the two of you want to meet each other. So how can we meet some of those challenges? I think it helps a great deal to structure your letters. When we're writing letters, guys, I know I see guys all the time, Bud, you've got a 3,000 character limit on your website, so every letter I write is going to be 3,000 characters, and I'm not going to use punctuation. And I've seen that before, and what happens is you have one big gigantic 3,000 character run-on sentence that's impossible to translate. It doesn't get translated well. It doesn't get passed on to the woman, probably at all. And there are other things. We just write these long letters, long letters, guys. We're writing War and Peace. We're writing congressional filibusters and just dumping them in the lap of a translator as if we were the only person writing letters to anybody and the translator has nobody else to translate for. I think it helps us a lot to structure our letters. If you structure your letter so that it's effective, saying all the things you want to say without being excessive and boring, and you send your girl letters like that, those are going to get a good response because they'll be easy to translate for the translator, easy for the girl to read, easy for the girl to respond to. Guys, if you write War and Peace and you send a War and Peace size letter to your girl and the translator manages to translate all of it, which quite frankly I think is unlikely, but if she manages to translate all of it accurately, and a woman's just worked a 14-hour day and she's at home and she's exhausted and her 8-year-old is screaming at her for attention, she's got stuff to do that's really important, that letter is just not going to get translated very well and you're not going to get a really good response to it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever written a long letter and gotten a short response to it? I know guys will complain about that sometimes, and believe me, I understand why you would complain about that, because it looks like the effort on her part doesn't match your effort in the correspondence. But there's a translator that's involved trying to coordinate that whole thing. So structure your letter. I came up with a formula. It sounds kind of funny, but if you can memorize it, it will help you to structure your letters. And the formula sounds like this: what her, what you, why you, and what do. Think about that. What, why, and what. Why her, excuse me, what about her, what about you, why you, and what do. So let's look at that formula for writing letters. You want to write 3 paragraphs and maybe a little summary sentence, or maybe 3 paragraphs max in every letter. Guys, this is good advice. Take it. If I wanted your money and I was greedy, I would tell you, write War and Peace. The girls love War and Peace. Oh my God, they love reading congressional filibusters. Write, for God's sake. And you would write longer letters and that would make us more money. I'm telling you to shorten your letters up. What about her do you like? What about her did you notice? That is the entirety of paragraph number 1. Dear so-and-so, I noticed your profile at this website. Thank you for writing to me. I looked at your pictures. Right away I noticed your green eyes. I love green eyes. They're a little bit rare in our culture, but they always stand out. And I can imagine the green blouses and the green dresses and the green scarves and the green sweaters that you wear because they match your eyes, and how beautiful that color is for you. You know, I also noticed your great smile. I kind of smiled to myself when I saw your smile, and I bet that's the reaction a lot of people have when they see your smile. So 2 things I noticed about you right away that I just loved. I also noticed in your profile that you like tennis and kayaking. I love to play tennis. I suck at playing tennis, but I love to play it. I do love kayaking, and I'm pretty good at it. That is what about her. Paragraph 2, what you. What about you is interesting. I like tennis. I like kayaking. I usually go kayaking several times off the coast of Maine each year, and I'll usually take a friend or one of my sons along, and we have a great time together. I love to play tennis with my daughter. It's a lot of fun. I usually let her win, although that's not very hard because I'm really bad at it. Something like that. You know, I love to play tennis. I could spend an entire afternoon watching tennis. These are just examples, guys. This could be anything. Movies, cooking, NASCAR, wrestling, whatever, music, just anything, whatever the topics are. The point is, this is what I do with some of the things we have in common, right? You like this, I like that. I also like this. I also like Dogs. I have 3 dogs. I walk my dogs. We have a great time walking through the park, playing frisbee, etc. A little bit about her, a little bit about you that's interesting, some new stuff about you. Here's how I spent my day. I spent my day planning my vacation for July. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go visit my mom. Here's what we'll do together. 1 paragraph about her, 1 paragraph about you, and now the 3rd paragraph will be what you can do together, or why you should pursue each other. You know, I imagine us playing tennis together. You said you like to cook. I love to cook. I imagine us cooking together. I would like to eat your best dish. I wonder what that is. I'd like to give you my best dish. I cook the best lasagna, and I'd love to make lasagna for you sometime, and whatever your best dish is, we could have a little competition. I think that would be fun. You're playing, you're flirting, you're talking a little bit about what the 2 of you can do in the future. You're painting a picture for her that's a lot of fun, and it shows that you're playful. Things that you can do together. And then what do you want to do? I would like to come to your city in July. I would like to see you in 6 weeks. I'd like to come to Shenzhen in 10 days. I would love to be there. I'm going to come to your city. I'm going to be there. Could we meet each other? Could we go out for lasagna? Could we try this? Could we do that together? What do you think? Your friend, Joe. I mean, just do that. It's a simple formula, and you cannot mess it up. When she writes back, respond to the things that she says about her. Tell her some things about you, how you feel about the things that she wrote. What are additional feelings and impressions that you have? What do you think the 2 of you can do about that together? How can you spend time together? 3 paragraphs, maybe an additional wrap-up sentence or 2. That's it. That's all you're doing. Those are simple letters. The translator will translate your letters, all of it in its entirety, and get it to the girl. The girl will sit down. She'll love your letters because she knows in advance you're not boring. You're not going to tell your entire life story in 1 letter. You write things that are easy to understand, and you know she's going to be able to respond to them. All of that is very, very encouraging to both your translator and to the woman that you're writing to. That's going to help you get a good response, right? There are do's and don'ts around correspondence. We'll talk about some don'ts and we'll talk about some do's, right? It's very important, guys, that you understand that any website you've ever heard of, I would imagine, uses a network of affiliate agencies and translators. It's very rare that you are going to be writing directly to a woman. There are websites that do that, but most of them you haven't heard of. The larger websites in this realm all use a network of independent relationships, independent affiliates on the ground, or office staff on the ground. Don't underestimate the relationship between the girl you're writing to and her translator or her office. That may be a very positive relationship. That may be the relationship that a seller has with a really good real estate agent. I like this real estate agent. I'm getting results with this real estate agent. I'm getting looks. I'm getting shows. I'm getting this. I just like the professional attitude. I like the track record. Don't underestimate that there's a positive relationship between the girl and the agency or the office that represents her. And therefore, you know, I get it, guys, right? I see guys writing letters all the time. This is too expensive. I can't write letters. Can we just go off the grid and write to each other directly? And I understand why you would ask that. Most services are probably not going to have a path for you to do it. We actually have a path for you to do it. It's just that the women and their agencies have such a good relationship. Most of the time, the women won't do it until you meet. When you meet each other, then typically you can get all the contact information that you want. That's just how it goes, guys, right? We take very much for granted the fact that these women are here, but there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into bringing these women to you so that you could go home, sit down one day, and in a matter of minutes, identify women somewhere in this world that you could possibly fall in love with, spend the rest of your life with. That is no small task. Sometimes I see guys writing letters saying, I want to know you're real and not a scam, so go take a picture of you holding a pumpkin on your head and send it to me. Guys, you know, when you write these letters asking the girl to do something to verify that she's real, most of the time she's just going to laugh at you and go, really, are you seriously? You don't think I'm real? Why are you writing to me then? Because you would feel the same way if somebody wrote to you and said, prove that you're authentic, because I don't believe what you say. I don't have reason to believe that you're authentic. That's a little offensive, right? Especially to somebody who hasn't done anything wrong. Women are going to say, look, if you don't want to use a website to meet somebody, don't do it. But it's typically not a good idea to ask them to prove themselves. You should just assume positive intent until somebody gives you a really good reason not to think that. I know that's crusty for some of you guys, but you know what? If you talk to these women and you ask them how they feel about correspondence, I guarantee you that's what they'll say. Don't take for granted what it took for you to find each other to begin with. There's a story behind that, right? There's a company that opened some offices, that hired some people, they pounded the pavement. You know, some people laughed at them, some people said, no way, I've heard about all the crazy men, no way, I've heard about all the scamming women, right? Everybody experiences that when you try to open an online dating business. Don't take for granted the incredible amount of energy and effort that it took to bring this woman to you. So here are some do's. These are very important to enhance your correspondence. Send nice pictures. Send attractive pictures, right? I get guys who wake up, they're shaving, in the middle of shaving, they're like, I forgot to add a picture on my profile, and they'll take a picture of their face half shaved. I mean, I see the silliest stuff sometimes, and I think, you guys are crazy. What are you doing? Pictures like this. Put on a nice shirt, have a nice background, have someone else take the picture for you if you're like me and you just suck at taking pictures. Send nice pictures. Let them see a nice representation of you. Let them see you at your best. Your letters should always be positive, calm, confident, and balanced. Negative, sad, tearful stuff, you know, there's a place for that when you meet each other, but for the most part, these are women who have really tough lives, and they just want to hear positive things. They want to hear positive things that make them smile, make them laugh, right? Do that. Now, rather than accuse them of being insincere, rather than ask them for their personal contact information right up front because the whole thing's too expensive and you don't want to spend any money, etc., call them on the phone, write a few letters if they write you back, arrange for a phone call. Most services allow you to do that. If they don't, I wouldn't work with them. Call the girl on the phone. Talk to her. Let her hear your voice. Let her hear your personality, which now will come through in every single subsequent letter that you send. And ask her, you know, do you like talking with me? Do you expect to be a time when we could just communicate directly? What does that look like? What are your expectations around that? And just hear what she has to say. She might pleasantly surprise you. And constantly speak to your plan. I came here to meet somebody. I want to fall in love. I want to ultimately get married. I wouldn't suggest that you tell her you want to get married to her before the two of you have met each other, because the girl will just think you're not serious or can't be taken seriously. But it's okay to speak to your plan. This is ultimately why I'm here, what my goal is. I want to come visit your country. I can't wait to be in Shenzhen. I can't wait to be in Davao. I've heard it's such a big and beautiful city, and the forest preserve and the beaches and the resorts. I can't wait to see it. I hear the food is great. So constantly speak to your plan of taking this beyond correspondence. Otherwise, the women will think you're not going to take it beyond correspondence and that you have a correspondence relationship, which means she's not going to invest in you emotionally. And if she has an opportunity to meet somebody who's not writing her letters, she might invest more in that than she is in your correspondence, because she doesn't believe you're going to stop corresponding and come and meet her. Go and get your girl. At the end of the day, there are so many ways to do that. Not only Ukraine, we have tours to Ukraine next month, guys. 2 excellent tours to Ukraine. I will be leading, undoubtedly, a great, large group of guys to Ukraine in July. Wouldn't that be great? I don't know you, if you're watching me, I bet. But there's an excellent chance you and I could go to Ukraine together in July. Wouldn't that be just amazing? It would be, I promise. We could go to Ukraine in July together. And, you know, if you can't go in July, there's November. There are other possibilities, right? We have some great tours this year in places like Costa Rica, 2 hours away. I saw airfare to Costa Rica today for $300 round trip, I think, from Miami. Right? So you go to Latin America, guys, for those of you who want to meet the women from Peru and Colombia and Costa Rica. You know what's great about that? It's usually under $500 round trip all year long, and it's 2 hours, 3 hours to get where you're going, right? You can go on the weekend. If you want to go to the Philippines, if you want to go to China, guys, go. Go. It's not a big, scary world. People travel to all these destinations. Americans travel. How many Americans do you think, with all the news that we've had about Russia in the last couple of years, how many Americans do you think work, live, and study in Russia? You know what? Thousands of them do. It's true. Thousands of them do. How many Americans do you think travel to Ukraine every year? Tens of thousands of people travel to Ukraine from North America every year. It's true. We wouldn't think that's true, but it's true. How many Americans do you think travel to China for business or for tourism? How many, right? And we're thinking it's big and scary to get on a plane and go and meet these women. It's not. You're just doing what thousands of other people already do. And when you do it, there will be thousands of people doing it along with you in one way or another. So there you go, guys. My impassioned plea. As always, you've come to expect that, and you can continue to expect that going forward. I don't want you to sit there and write letters into oblivion. I want you to go and meet somebody. And that's the work that I do. So yeah. All right, back to your questions. We're watching great video from the socials in Ukraine from last summer. Some of that video, I recognize that. That's my good friend Tim. And that is our social in July of last year in Kherson, Ukraine, right? You guys go to Ukraine next month. You guys go with me in July. You can put yourself in that exact video. We'll go to Kherson in July. If you want to be in that exact place and that exact video, you could easily do that, guys. Just got to get on the plane, right? Chris says, Bud, You keep saying big Photoshop boobs. How believable are the pictures and other information? Look, the information's great, but here's the thing. Women believe that they have to Photoshop their boobs to get you guys to write to them. And guess what? Guess what, guys? They're right. Because if they don't have big Photoshop boobs, you guys are not going to write to them. Some of the boobs that you're going to see on online dating websites are definitely Photoshopped. I keep telling guys, and it's just a joke, I mean it humorously, women will always Photoshop their profiles, always, and men probably should, because you have entirely opposite ends of the spectrum. Women who are very beautiful and they don't need to Photoshop, and guys who just don't understand that you should have a particularly attractive presentation, right? Wear a nice shirt, not a wrinkled one. Wear something besides a parrot shirt. Put on a sport coat, for crying out loud. Take a nice picture and let that be a good representation, guys. If you put good pictures on your profile, the women will definitely notice that, appreciate it, and write to you. AJ says, I enjoyed the seminar in Phoenix and I learned a lot. Right on, AJ. When is the next one in Phoenix? Boy, I don't know, brother. It's probably going to be sometime in summertime. We've got a whole bunch of seminars coming up, guys. March 24th, March 25th, Saturday and Sunday. We'll be in Houston, Texas and Dallas, Texas, respectively. These are free seminars, 4 hours long, tons of video of people meeting each other all over the world in our processes, and lunch. And who knows what else, probably a few couples that have met that'll stop by to tell their story. So if you want to be in Houston and Dallas on the 24th or 25th of March, or if you want to come out and see me in Jacksonville, Florida on April 7th, RSVP Bud at Loveme.com. Going to Shenzhen in November. Yep, right on, AJ. Very good. I've already received messages from ladies that are some distance from Shenzhen. What is the distance they will actually travel to attend the socials? Most of the time, guys, when you're traveling to a city with us, when you're traveling on one of our singles tours to a specific city, the vast majority of women that you're going to meet are going to be from that city. And that is true of just about everywhere that we go. I understand that in Costa Rica, women from outside the city will sometimes travel to come to the social, but most of the time, the women that come to the social event are going to be from the city that you're in. Now, if you're writing to women ahead of time who are outside of the city, for example, if you're going to Shenzhen and you're writing to women in another city, you could easily say, hey, I'm coming to Shenzhen. I mean, I'm coming that far. Can you come to Shenzhen during the 10 days or so that I'm there, and we could meet each other? And quite often the women will agree to that if they feel that's what they should do. So there's always that possibility. Most of the time you're going to meet the women who are in the city that you're in. This is another reason, guys, that I tell you to decide where you want to go meet your girl and start writing to women in that city, because when you do that, you get to meet the women you're writing to because they're in the city you're going to, and that whole thing is an incredibly easy thing to orchestrate. All right, Bruce says, I'm going on the Medellin tour in 3 weeks. Bruce, you will have an extraordinary time. I have a son who just got back from Colombia and Medellin, and he loved it, loved it. Who will be on the trip from AFA? Our staff in Medellin will be coordinating that tour for you guys. They are a very experienced and lovely staff, and you will enjoy them very much. My friend Mel from Chicago says it's important that guys read the lady's profile carefully. Mel's traveled with us to Ukraine before. He knows what he's talking about. So read the profile before deciding to write. You can't just go off the photos. Look for age-appropriate women. Of course, that'll help you get a good response, and that's absolutely true. A few more questions, guys. You guys are great. I appreciate your questions very, very much. Have we ever done a multi-city tour in Colombia, such as Cartagena and Medellin? Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do a multi-city Latin American tour. We have some of those on our tour schedule right now. If you want to go to Peru and Costa Rica, for example, you have an opportunity to do that. If you want to go to Medellin in Costa Rica, or if you want to go to Colombia and Peru, there are ways to do that, and you can see the schedules for that at Loveme.com, definitely. Right on. What info can you give on Thai brides? What I can tell you, Bradley, is that we have a really great office in Bangkok. We have a very, very dedicated staff. They love to host men for our social events, and we have social events next month. We have a singles tour in Bangkok, Thailand next month, and I know that our staff can't wait for the guys to arrive. We have a lot of very beautiful women in Thailand. My man Leonard in Thailand says that probably 70%, a large number, the large majority of women at our social events in Bangkok speak English, which is a huge advantage for the women in Bangkok. Most of them are Buddhists, so you should probably study up on that a little bit before you go to Bangkok. They're Buddhists. They're going to stay Buddhist. Their families are Buddhist, so as long as you're cool with that, can handle that, I'm telling you guys, Bangkok is very overlooked, but it's a great, great city to go to meet very beautiful, sincere, lovely women. So, yeah, man. Rick says, hey, Bud, how are you, bro? Rick, I'm good. I hope you are too. Mariupol is in the Ukraine. Yes, it is. I've been there. Is it possible to go there with our company's help. Well, so here's the thing. Mariupol is in the southeastern corridor of Ukraine. Between any major cities in Mariupol, there's nothing but farmland. And it's probably 5 or 6 hours by car, actually qualify that, it's about 7 hours by car from a southern city like Nikolaev. So can you go to Mariupol? Yes, you can. Can you get some help going there? Sure you can. You should probably call us up and talk to us. I've been there. It's an incredibly boring city. But what's nice about Mariupol is there are a lot of very nice people there, and certainly a lot of very beautiful women that are lonely because nobody goes there. So if you want to go there, Rick, why don't you call me up and let's talk about it, and I'll give you some good information to help you do that. All right? Bud at Loveme.com. You can always write to me and tell me how to reach you, and I'll be happy to do that. All right, guys. Hey, look. It's not marketing fluff. You understand that, right? I'm not out here to tell you stuff you want to hear to get you to spend your money on stuff you want to hear. I mean, you got everybody else in this industry pretty much does that. I don't do that. And there will be times when I challenge you and times when I offend you, but I want you to just look in the mirror and you just ask yourself, when you look in the mirror, right? You and that guy in the mirror and nobody else, do you deserve to find a true love? Do you deserve to meet somebody? Do you deserve to have a real person in your life? How much correspondence do you think you really need to accomplish that? And is correspondence really a substitute that you're leaning heavily on in lieu of getting on a plane to go and meet somebody? Remember, guys, what we do in groups. When I go in July to Ukraine, I'm going to have 50 guys with me, maybe 60. If you're anything like the last group I had, that will be an incredibly fun and hilarious time. And a lot of you will find your love and meet your life mate. I'm not here to give you marketing fluff because it's nice to hear and it makes you spend your money. I am here to challenge the way that you think because you have, I worry that you've sold yourself out. I worry that you've given up on something that is really your birthright, which is to find that beautiful, long-lasting, lifetime love experience. And I'm here for as long as you're watching. If you're going to come and watch, I'm definitely not going to blow marketing fluff around you. I'm going to tell you, tough love, straight up. You deserve to have that love, and I want you to go and get it because that's what I believe to my core. All right, guys, we'll be back 1 week from tonight. I have a great topic for you next week, which is presented to me by our manager in Odessa, Ukraine, whose name is Anna. If you ever have the pleasure of meeting Anna, she is awesome. She's a lot of fun. She's a great manager, one of our best managers in the world. And she's an amazing person with great ideas. And she talked about some unique ideas for dating that guys can do. So some fun things that guys can do on dates. We're going to talk a little bit about that next Monday night. We're going to answer your questions and have some good information for you. All right, if you want to go to the seminar, Houston and Dallas, 24th of March, 25th of March, RSVP, Bud at Loveme.com. If you want to see me in Jacksonville, Florida on April the 8th, it's April the 8th, it's a Sunday, then RSVP, Bud at Loveme.com, and let's do it. Hopefully we'll see you soon. We'll talk to you 1 week from tonight. Have a great night.